Okay, so now we're going to set up our 2020 topology in GNS3. So I've already connected to my VPN, and now we're going to connect into GNS3. I'm going to call this 2020 topology. So it's a new project here. And I'm going to open my device pane over here, my all devices. And here's the devices that we will be using in this topology. Now, I'm not going to set up every single device right now. The Windows Server and the Windows 10 in particular, those are a little bit more troublesome. Sometimes they end up messing up your topology. So what I like to do is go in and create the rest of the topology first, get it fully functioning. So get the routing and switching set up, firewalls, etc. Then from that point you can go back, add those devices in one at a time. Now again, to do this, we're going to pick up devices on the left in the pane. We'll hold down the mouse and drag them over. So for any server or any end device, any client device that is on the topology, each of these devices here, these are going to be set up using just the VPCs. So I think what I'm going to do here to make this just a bit easier, take this over to this side. It's not quite as easy on a Mac as it is on a Windows device. So we have a straight Ethernet switch here, a non-programmable switch, so we can just pick that up and drop it over here. And then we have a couple of client machines here, so we can add PC1 here, and add another one, PC2 here. For the routers, we'll use the Cisco IOS V, and we'll do a number of these. So we have 4 of these that are part of our topology. And let's see here, we have another one that's over here, Kentucky Int. And then we have a Cisco ASA. So the diagram looks different on the Cisco ASA. I think you can actually go in and change the symbol. Yeah. Here we go. This is the actual official ASA symbol, so we can do that. And then again, for our servers here, we're going to start out by setting them up as just VPCs, and then we can modify that later. So in this one we have a straight Ethernet switch. I think I may have to go to fit in view here and see if that will fix. And one of the things I can do here is pick these all up and move them up just a bit. So over here, so I'm not going to go through and do all of these, but I will do this last switch here. So this is a programmable switch here. So we will go ahead and put that in here. And maybe we'll go ahead and add a couple of other virtual PCs down here. So now we want to cable them together. And so what we're going to do is we'll come over here to the cable. And traditionally, I mean, if you were connecting real devices up, you'd have to know whether you were using a straight-through cable or a crossover cable, particularly for enterprise level. You don't necessarily have to know that now for small office, home office devices, but you still do for enterprise. But GNS3 doesn't really keep track of that. Now, if you look over at our topology on the left, you'll notice that, well, let me stop that for just a second, get just to the point where you can see it, because you can't quite see it from here. Let's go back and connect. We'll connect from this virtual PC over to Ethernet port 2 on this particular switch. And then we'll go from this one to Ethernet 3 on this switch. And from Ethernet 1 down to this router, and we're going to put it in gig 02, and you can see that by these smallest, they're actually red, but they're the smallest font here if you're colorblind. And then we'll go from 01 over to 01 on this device, and then we'll go from 02 on this one over to 02 on this one. Now I am going to have to make a change here, so I'm going to stop the, we'll turn off the cable here. We're going to go right click on this, we're going to go to configure, and then on network, this one actually needs to have 5 interfaces. So I'm going to add the 5th interface in here. Because we have 4 interfaces going this direction. We have 1 interface that's going out to the cloud. I don't know whether we'll use the cloud. Depends on how far we get through everything. But if you wanted to use the cloud, you can pick it up and drop it. And that allows you to connect other devices outside of the topology into that. So that's cloud's going to be connected to 04 on this one. We'll go from 00 to 00 on this one. And we don't, it doesn't really matter what the numbers are, just as long as it does match the topology here. So we didn't have to use specific ones, but once we put them over here on this topology, then this one actually needs to match. 01 here to 01 here, etc. So I'm going to let you go ahead and connect the rest of these devices, straighten them up so that they look really nice and good, and then I'll see you back here for actually starting to configure them. Okay, so if you want to watch us configure the rest of this topology, like, share, subscribe.